Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another live stream. We hope that you are well this fine December day. It's absolutely slashing it down outside here, so I don't know what the
It's
weather's like.
fucking cold. It's cold as well. It's only 5 degrees outside.
If anybody sees David disappear in plumes of like vapor, it's not his vape. It's just that it's about -6 in his bedroom, so that's why he's sitting there like some fucking extra out of the Thing with his parka on.
I have all of the layers. All of the layers. I've got two t-shirts, a shirt, a hoodie, and an outdoor fleecy jacket.
Because, you know, that's the way he rolls. Fucking Arctic weather be damned.
I'll be going to Canada shortly. It'll be warmer over there. I'll migrate for the winter.
Fucking hell. Oh, dear. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to everybody in the chat. Let's call out some names. Welcome to Tim, some dude on YouTube. Hello, Paul Howells. The gentleman behind Pandyman Entertainment. Check them out on the internet. They've got some great games. Hello, Darren. Hello, Ewok. Hello. Oh, that's it. Well, we're missing some of our regular faces, but we won't let that stop us.
I'm sure Spam will be along shortly to fucking discredit and drag the chat down to the gutter where it belongs.
But luckily, we're not theming tonight around sex dungeons, so hopefully things won't get leery like they did last week. But, you know, you never know with this stream, do you? It could go either way. So Darren's quick in there.
Depends on technical difficulties, doesn't it?
Darren's painting a kit-bashed corpse selector for Forbidden Psalm from an old GW Crypt Ghoul and Zombie Park. Oh, I bet that's cool, mate. I'll keep my eyes peeled on your Instagram, Darren, as should everybody else. Demon Sub on Instagram. If you want to check out some of Darren's work, he does some amazing miniature painting, and it's all quite unusual left field stuff. You won't find any painted, you know, any Space Marines there. It'll be better stuff. Hello to everybody on YouTube. If you're joining us for the first time, this is our regular Thursday hobby live stream. So what we will do tonight is follow our usual format, which is we will tell you what we're going to be hobbying on tonight, between chatting to you guys in the chat, and then we will discuss briefly what we did at club on Monday night.
And what we did at the weekend, because we got a gaming session in.
We did, yes. And damn it, we didn't get any picks. I probably should get I'll see if I can get an internet pick of the board game we played, so that you guys can have something to look at while we tell you about it. What about Christmas chocolate? That's a hashtag that we've never used before. I don't think we're renowned for Christmas chocolate, are we?
Is that a euphemism, Tim?
I'll be fucking shocked if it's not. To be fair, Darren, I wouldn't bother with resolutions, mate. You certainly don't need them for motivation. You like it, you know. It just keeps punching out endless streams of projects. Some of them totally class. No, Tim just likes Christmas chocolate. Well, look. Don't drag us into your world, Tim. We are our own men. We make our own rules here.
We don't need ways of making us talk.
After we've done that, there is actually quite a few videos I wanted to sort of chat about.
I've got a creepy chair. It's annoying me.
It's been quite a good week on YouTube. I don't know if everybody else finds that. Sometimes there's a dearth of stuff to watch on YouTube, and you end up sort of either scraping the barrel or resorting to, you know, the streaming services. But this week there seems to have been a load of things that I've really enjoyed watching. So we'll talk about them. Then probably around 9 o'clock, David and I are going to basically fall on our swords and wail, sort of like Mayor.
No. We won't be falling on our swords because we achieved everything, or did we?
as somebody put in the On Tabletop Discord earlier, I don't forget who it was, and I do apologise. If you have to ask, you've already failed. So, but yeah, we'll be dissecting the rash resolutions we made for our hobby last January, and how we've managed to what progress we've made over paint tanks, paint spill washes. Yeah, something like that, Tim. If only those were the resolutions, we'd have ticked them all.
Tanks wasn't even on the resolution list.
Yeah, but we'll come to that. So yeah, we're basically just going to dissect how good or bad a year we feel that we've had, and talk about just talk about the subject of hobby resolutions. And do you know what? Maybe you guys can get revved up, put your thinking caps on, and you can comment in the chat about what resolutions you made and how you did or didn't do with them. So, do you want to go first, mate, with the what are you painting tonight?
You can do. Answers on a postcard, please, because if you don't know what I'm painting, you've not been a regular viewer.
Yeah, I'm afraid we're both. You see, this will come up in the projects, in the hobby resolutions, rather, but David and I are basically forging on. If it's started, it will be finished. So, as David said, if you were here last week, this is all going to look very familiar. Right, mate, you're on.
Evening spam. She's here.
Evening spam.
Tonight we're finishing, or not finishing. We're just going to plow into some more of the Wild West Exodus minis. So we're going to highlight this girl up. We're waiting for some washes to dry that I applied pre-stream. So we've got a nice red wash on the inside of Abraham Lincoln's jacket there to dry. I'm waiting for some flesh wash to dry on Assless Chap's girl, boys and girls. Look at those legs. Quality. So yeah, that's where we're at tonight, and then we've got some thigh-high boots to paint. So we're getting there.
Yeah, I agree, Tim. It's sort of like only. Darren only painted 120 miniatures this year. Oh my god. Looks like Spam likes the new name, new Mrs. Cookie Cutter. Oh dear. Very good. So, and just because I'm not going to be left out, I am still working on the Devilish Japanese. We've got most of the kit fully painted now. My next colour is, I believe it's Vallejo model colour brown violet, which is going to be used for the helmet colour, and it was the colour that was used for the water bottles for the Japanese military during World War II. So we're going to apply that to the water bottles and helmets. When that's done, obviously all of the water bottles are actually sitting in fabric cradles that match the cross strappings and the bread bags. So obviously when I've painted the bottles, I'm then going to go back in and use, I think it's German camo beige on the support strappings that hold the wet.
Sounds about right.
Up. So that's what I'm going to be doing. If I get that finished, I also want to give a quick dry brush. I'm at the point where I want to dry brush dark sand all over these miniatures just to add a touch of highlight. It's going to be a very, very light dry brush. But it's the kind of universal pale beige that will highlight all of the colours that we've got on. In fact, actually, I'm going to probably try and do that before the brown violet, thinking about it, because it'll highlight all of the colours I've got down so far and just add a bit of definition, because I will be using Army Painter Dip to shade
What? He said a dirty word.
Army Painter Dip, soft tone to finish these guys off. So before that goes on,
why do you insist on using the world's glossiest product?
Because it works a charm, and it's a great way to speed shade things and make them bulletproof for gaming. Yeah, dip. Although I don't dip, I tend to apply with a brush. The other thing is, I will apologise. The lighting is a little bit off because we've had a move around with the lamps and that in the front room. So I've now got.
Because
There
it's
used to be
Christmas.
a really nice little lamp here off to my right hand side, which lit me lovely. And now it's moved to the other end of the room. So I'm sort of a bit dark down this side. I do apologise. For everybody who's sort of like thinking, fucking hell, that looks a bit off. I will try and fix it going forward. I just need to move my other light sources around and try and compensate for what we've done in the room.
Club.
Ooh. Ewok says, I actually achieved one hobby resolution with a golden button. Tell us more in the chat, Ewok. Was that because your resolution was to try and get a golden button, or simply one of the projects that was a resolution for you to do got recognised, sort of like as a side effect? That's cool. So yes, let's talk about club. So let's do club first. Because as David said, we also had a gaming session on Saturday night round my house. So as well as club, there we go.
You fucker.
So on Monday night at Gaming Club, Nat, one of our club members, brought a game called Warrior Knights from 1985. This is an old Games Workshop board game. And
You could tell it was from the 80s.
Yeah.
And that's not a discredit to it, but fuck me, the amount of random.
Yeah. What can we say?
Well, shall we just come at it with the salt, if you would like to apply the salt to my face? Let me know when I'm being seasoned and I'll just come out and spit it out, shall I?
Oh, hang on.
Being seasoned?
Hang on. Oh, you stupid machine. There we go. Yes, you're now being seasoned, sir. Oh,
2.25 hours of gameplay later, and because of a random event, we got back to exactly where we started.
Yes, okay. Yeah, that pretty much sums up the evening, frankly. First of all, what to say about Warrior Knights? The concept is really good. So you play barons trying to control a map and capture cities. Okay, so the win condition on the face of it is quite simple. Capture and control more than half of the cities on the map. Okay, the number of cities on the map scales with the number of players. So for lower player counts, you just put raised markers over similar cities and wipe them off the board, and then that leaves fewer to battle over, tightening the game up.
And you can burn them to the ground yourself.
The game runs. It runs in two sort of modes. There's an assembly mode which I think is the best part of the game. So let's be positive. In the assembly mode, each player representing their baron goes to an assembly and votes on a series of cards that form an agenda. And those cards are things like you award titles to nobles that belong to one of the barons. You buy mercenaries. You award yourself a concession to generate cash. So that might be wool milling or spice trading or some sort of appropriate late medieval activity which generates golden income. And so obviously each player has a number of votes which is dependent upon their wealth and power within the game. And then there's a lot of the thing that's nice about this part of the game is that there is a there's a dynamic between the players where you actually, because there are like one person has like a chairman so they can break ties, and another person gets a veto so they can veto one of the votes and force it, basically rule out, either flip it if it's a yes no vote to the other side, or force it to go to like the second highest voted. They can veto the winner if you like. And that sort of the game was. Do you know what? It's not broken, Tim, but it's got issues which we'll come to. So that's that.
Then you get a move. Then you get a movement phase, don't you, where you can gain your income, pay your army, and move around the board to capture cities, lay siege to cities, that kind of thing.
I'm assuming. Sorry, I was just going to say, I'm assuming Darren has played a similar board game or aged board game recently, because he's hit the nail bang on the head. Anyway, mate, you were saying about the movement wages phase, or whatever the heck it's called.
And interestingly as well, you can't attack your fellow players unless you don't go to the assembly. So there is benefits and drawbacks.
Yeah. If you want to be Captain Super Aggression, you have to sit out of the voting. Because you're too busy campaigning for war to actually horse trade and play politics, which I think is a great design touch. As I say, the game is not without its merits. The other thing that's slightly odd is you do 2 movement stroke combat phases. So you do 2 revenue phases for each of the assembly. So it's assembly, movement, and assembly. Or actually, it's the other way around technically, because the turn structure is movement, assembly, movement, assembly. And you always know the agenda for the upcoming assembly before you get to it. So you know what's coming, and you have a chance. I guess the point is you have a chance during those 2 movement phases to either hoard your cash to buy votes, or to take control of cities, which gives you more votes. So you can plan for the upcoming assembly and decide, the game makes a lot of sense in that regard. Now to the problem. The problem is randomness. This game uses dice rolls to resolve a lot of stuff.
Well, not only that, but there's the random deck of fate cards that every player draws from prior to their movement.
Yeah, so the dice rolls, some dice rolls make perfect sense. Dice roll resolutions for sieges and combat are great. They it's only D6, so there is quite a tight range, and you can modify your chances of success by just having more troops in the attack or more troops in the siege, essentially trying to outnumber your target, whether that's a neutral city or a fellow player. But as David has alluded to, there is also another element of randomness, which is the fate deck. During the movement, wages, attack phase, whatever, every player draws a fate card. That's one of the first things that you do. And the fate cards are absolutely preposterous. Some of them...
For example, the first one that we drew,
yep,
because it was affected my noble, my line had died out. So if my noble is ever killed in a subsequent thing, whether it be an epidemic, a plague, or whatever, because there's no line of inheritance and no children, that noble can no longer play.
It's like, that's it. You flip a card, you've got what...
the epidemic that we called was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yeah, and other cards are like forest fires. You generate, by dice rolls, you generate random squares off the map by rolling column and row values. Then if there is an army or whatever in that square, you have to roll a dice for all of the troops and the noble in the army, and they can get burned to death by forest fires. So it's like, it's random upon random upon random. And basically what happened was, you would, like, I committed myself to a siege, and I was just about to gain control of the city, and I drew some plague card, and it basically wiped out all of my sieging forces and sort of like took out my main play of like the first 3 turns. So that was the end of that. And then like 2 hours in, David draws this epidemic card, and we roll for every single noble and army or troop on the board, and like on a 1 or 2 on a d6. So 33% of the time, everything they die. So a third of everything dies if the dice are nice. If the dice spike like they did, essentially David was pretty much wiped out. I didn't have much anyway because I'd already been wiped out by my own plague card. It's just bonkers. So by 9:30, we'd effectively ended up in a situation where each of the 3 players had got less than their starting resources left because everything else had been wiped out by random d6 rolls. So if you're in a position to play Warrior Knights, my piece of advice would be, number 1, plan a long time for it. Even at 3 players, you're probably looking at a 3-hour game, 4-hour game. Even if the dice don't screw you over. I mean, we could have easily been playing that all day, because we weren't that experienced at it. The other and it goes up to 5 players. Egads. The other thing I would do is take the Fate deck, seal it in a Ziploc bag, and do not play with it in any way, shape, or form. The only mechanic that would permanently remove from the game is, in my opinion, as swingy as everything else in the Fate deck. It's something called the Royal Pretender, and basically you put a token on the board that if an army can control it with a noble, it gives that player an extra 3 votes at the assembly. Now, bearing in mind that the assemblies, most of the ones we were doing, we were running 1 or 2 votes a player. It gives somebody a massive advantage. Basically, once Nat had taken over his Royal Pretender token, he was winning every vote at the assembly unless we used the veto to just stop one of them. So it was a fast track for success to him, and there was no way for us to catch him easily. So just don't bother.
Well,
with
the only thing would have been to go to war with him.
But then again, we would have needed troops which hadn't died in the random d6 rolls.
Yeah, I know.
And the other thing, of course, is when you can't win votes at the assembly, you can't get yourself nice concessions to generate cash. So you end up in a tragic cycle of decline. As I say, just don't bother with the Fate deck and let the rest of the game play out as it is. And I think that's a massive way to improve it. It probably still does have a lot of issues. As I've said, once you get cash starved, you struggle to, because everything hinges on.
Well, again, Nat threw a massive army at me, rolled the one result on the dice he didn't want, and I basically fucking routed the army to a man.
I mean, again, even the randomness on the attacks, because like David said, Nat can merge 3 armies together to attack one of your cities, was it, or stronghold or something? A city?
No, it was noble.
Just attack one of your nobles, and basically his 3 armies were beaten off, just because he rolled 1 on d6, and it was just like an absolute fucking disaster. So, yeah, we did it. I'm glad we did it. Will we be doing it again? For me, no. I won't be rushing back for more. And certainly I'd want to remove the Fate deck and look at some of the other game balance stuff, because otherwise the game is too long-winded and open-ended. I've never played California, the board game. I don't even know if it's a real thing, but if it plays like that, it's that, mate. Do you know what? That is exactly what I said. We had a big discussion about the randomness issue.
Random.
And I totally agree with you. if your game is only 30 minutes, like you say, a filler game, if it's something you're doing, you just literally throw it down and play, then who cares? Do you know what I mean? If the dice turn against you, or you draw some crappy cards, and it means that you're wiped, it's like, okay, rack 'em, let's play again. Or it
Again,
doesn't matter.
Radlands that we've played, the
Yeah.
little card game that I picked up, it's swingy as all fucking hell, depending on the combos that go off. But
I get it now.
it's not a terrible game.
Yeah.
For the reason of it's swinging and it only takes 20 minutes to play.
So that is what we did at club. Now I'm gonna go back to the main scene. Let me see if I can find us an image for the game that we played.
It will be of no surprise to people. Black Friday was a thing, and David cannot be trusted with money in a wallet. Because I was on Zartu, doom scrolling Zartu, as you do when there's a Black Friday sale on, and I found a board game called Tindaya. And I bought it. It was over 50% off. It was like 50 odd quid going down to $25.99. And then I decided to spend an extra $7.99 on some little miniatures to add some pizzazz to the game. Little, what was it, 8 miniatures or 8 or 9 miniatures for like $7.99. I didn't think it was too bad.
Yeah, the what was it?
Basically 3D standees for the gods and a volcano and a tsunami, but we'll come to that in a minute once Paul's found a picture
up on screen now to show everybody. So, yeah. The thing with Frostgrave is, the thing that saves Frostgrave, Darren, is the fact that the core game experience involves just gathering treasure chests. There is no... You can risk attacking your opponent and wailing in and then getting natural 20'd off the board, but you don't have to do that. Do you know what I mean?
No, if you just go and get the treasure, fuck off, you're all right.
Yeah, if you want to, and really the smart thing to do is try and grab some treasures. Don't get fucking mullered by the wandering monsters. Don't be aggressive.
Or the scenario.
Don't be hyper aggressive against your opponent unless you've maybe got a treasure to fight over. But grab a couple of easy wins and go head for home, so that at least your warband makes it and you can upgrade. And do you know what I mean? Yes, Frostgrave can be super swingy, but you can mitigate that in the way that you play it. You can avoid it by playing more cautiously.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Hedging your bets. That's a great way of putting it, mate. You could, you know, if you play it as an exploration treasure gathering game and don't come out all guns blazing like fucking
40k.
You know, yeah, like treat it like it's a bloody, you know, actual war game, which it is not in any way. Then yeah, no, it can still be a great game.
So Tindaya, a game set in 15th century Canary Islands. You're playing as the native Aboriginal inhabitants of the island, while the conquistadors are coming in to capture the islands, and you're facing the wraths of two gods, Moniba and Acheron, and the volcano and tsunami that might occasionally fuck your day up as well. This is a fucking genius game. The reason I mainly bought it is I quite like a Euro game and a worker placement game. This takes that idea, and whilst there is worker placement and resource collection, it's a really considered approach of don't take too much from the islands because you'll piss the gods off. Don't be wasteful with what you take from the islands and what you produce it with your actions, because you will piss the gods off. And when you piss the gods off, there is certain things that occur through the game, either volcanoes exploding, tsunamis, or the wrath of the gods themselves destroying all of the wildlife on the islands, for example. But their wrath scales with the hexes around the miniature where they are. It's a fully modular board, which we both really like, because you can build up the island layout of the 8 islands however you want. And then secondly, you build up the island chain and the shores, mountains, and forests on the island, depending upon the player count. The only caveat being each island must have the volcano, a mountain, a forest, and a shores. All the extra ones can be scattered everywhere, can't they?
Yeah, yeah. So the replayability in the game is fucking massive, like David says, because you've got, was it 9 tiles or 8? 8 tiles.
8 tiles.
That you can essentially arrange in any pattern you like. Then,
and there's 2 faces on each of them. There's like a active volcano side and a dead side. So again, the only caveat being you use those red active sides, you've got to have at least even number of them.
Yeah. And obviously then, as well as the sort of like base terrain tiles, the actual overlay tiles that build the islands around the active volcanoes, they're all random, you know. Like David said, although you have to have one of each coast, mountain and forest initially, you can place them in any orientation and you can always change that every game. And then if you have extra spare tiles above your minimum, you can place them in any way you like. So you can create a big island and lots of smaller islands, or 2 larger islands, or you can even join islands with an isthmus of tiles. There are so many different things that you can do to vary the game up. The thing that, if I was to describe, everybody knows me, I'm like the mechanics guy, and I like to disassemble games in my head. If I could describe the sort of arc of this game, you do a load of things at the beginning that are random. So you flip over random cards for what you need, the offerings you need to pay to the gods. It's probably, we should say as well, the game runs in 3 eras, doesn't it, mate?
Yes, it does.
So it's
3 eras, and
it's effectively a 3-turn game, if you do know what I mean.
Yeah, the other thing is you have a resource tree, like a tech tree, that you unlock different trades. So there's fishing, pig farming, herding, and actual farming, isn't there?
Yeah, goat herding and crop farming.
In the 2-player game, me and Paul both started with 2 of the 4 unlocked.
Yeah.
And as you unlock those 4, you get little action cubes. There's 2 types of action cube. There's squares, which are singles, and you recollect them between eras. And then there is cylinders that are unlocked from more advanced inventions, such as field knives, or what's the other thing? Salted meat, etc., for preserving your food. And those you place once, you get to do a double action, so they're more powerful. But once you place them, once you use them, you don't get them back when you go to the next era.
They're once per game. But effectively, at the start of each era, you flip a load of cards to see what the gods are angry about, what pacification the gods are going to need. Then once all of that randomness is resolved at the start of the era, you effectively know what puzzle it is you have to solve. So then, from then on, there is no random. There's no dice rolling, there's no card flipping. Once that little bit of random is done, it becomes a fixed puzzle that you know you have one era to fix with, and so then it's a really good dynamic where you then have to plan, okay, this is where I'm at, I have this many meeples, I've got this many settlements, how am I going to get my offerings on the god cards, how am I going to feed all of my people, how am I going to kill the conquistadors, which are trying to take over the map, which we haven't mentioned.
It's very cooperative.
Well, it's very flexible, isn't it, mate? Because if you
yeah, so you can play this solo multiplayer. You can play it in what's called alliance mode, which is fully co-op, i.e. the game mode me and Paul were playing on Saturday, where we're helping one another. I was travelling to Paul's villages to learn his trades. Paul was travelling to my villages to learn my trades. Because basically on Saturday we played 2 games. We played, this is the other thing with the game, there was like an introduction set scenarios. We played the first 2 introduction scenarios. So we played through an era and moving and gathering resources and doing all that good stuff. And then the second game was 2 eras, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
where we had to learn all of the trades and then 1 second level invention and survive.
So, like for anybody who's seen my Assassin's Creed videos online, I've stopped at 3, but there are more to come. I promise. With Assassin's Creed, the first 4 missions you played in, prologue missions, are highly structured. You play with a limited rule set, so you don't play with all of the rules in play from the first game, and it builds the gaming experience up so that by the time you get to the end of the prologue missions, you know how bad guys work, you know how water and bridges work, you know how all the sort of rooftops and terrain works. And this game does exactly the same thing, doesn't it, mate? There's a section at the back of the book. If you are brand new to this game, we suggest you set this mission up and just play with these rules and this special objective. And it really does lead you by the hand, which is
through
excellent,
the game
because there is a lot going on in this game. A lot going on in this game.
I mean, the rule book is, what was it, about 30 pages?
Yeah.
And it is very dense. There is not, and it's no discredit to the producers, but there is not a wasted square centimetre of page in the entire rule book.
No, there's no indulgent art pieces.
Bollocks.
No, there's no indulgent art pieces. There's no frills. Every single square centimetre of the rulebook is taken up with either a rules explanation, a boxed out example, a picture of a map showing you an example or a card so that you can see exactly what the game assets look like. It's very the rulebook is very good. We found the other thing that's fantastic with the rulebook is the layout. I think there was one thing where it took us more than like a minute and a half, 2 minutes to find the answer to our question. I can't remember what it was, but mostly it was like, how did that work? Okay, flip to it. Yeah, there it is. Bang. Easy. Absolute easy. Now then, the only caveat, and here it comes. We played this in cooperative mode, which is what they recommend for the starting games. They say play in alliance mode, work together. And thumbs up. It was an awesome game experience. For 25 quid, this is an insanely good game. If you guys can pick it up, if it is reduced anywhere, we would highly recommend it if you like this sort of game. However, the concern I have might be about adversarial mode.
Yeah, which we haven't touched on yet. So there is a game mode called Dominion. The entire idea of the game mode is to still survive and do cooperative shit to survive, but the first person to do certain things will get extra points, or if you take the last resource, it's like, and you just reduce your...
I've just seen Tim's falling apart in the chat. Oh, mate, unlucky.
And I did see Tim's earlier comment about sticky, silicone, nail arty things, and yes, it is already on my I need to buy one for transferring shit to Gaslands cars, Tim. So don't worry, I'm already aware. I don't need help and assistance.
Yes, sorry, back to, what was it? What is it, Dominion mode?
Dominion, yeah. So you don't really give a fuck if you take the last animal or you take the last resource. You just get a slight penalty for it. It's like, and it's better. But the other thing that makes us really concerned is how random the events are and can be. So, for example, in our second game, we had Acheron, the god of Earth, on our island, a little bit pissed off, didn't we, sir?
Yeah.
And rather than deal with him, because we knew that we couldn't give him all of the offerings that he wanted, we just went, you know what? Fuck it. We'll sail away, and just sailed across the map away from the island.
Yeah.
And just set up camp somewhere else. It's like, we really don't care at this point. In Era 1, Maniba was a little bit pissed off, so Maniba leveled an entire island, wiped out everything on it. All the settlements, all the villages, all the tiles, it just sunk beneath the waves. Even the volcano was sunk beneath the waves. That island, completely gone. Can't go back to it in the future. In adversarial mode, if that affects your island and all the other players are across the other side of the fucking map, it's like, this is bad news, Bears.
Well, and bear in mind that, say, for example, let's take the water goddess example that David was referring to, this Minerva or whatever her name is. Minerva. One of the things that makes her bubble of wrath grow bigger is if anybody dies from starvation. So if you don't adequately feed your tribe. Now, in an adversarial mode, you could easily see a scenario where you're like, well, that's fine. Minerva and the tsunami are nowhere near my guys, so he doesn't. I'm just going to let them starve, because when she goes off like a nuclear bomb, all it's going to do is wipe out my opponent and not me, so I don't care. And I have concerns that could become massively tilty in a multiplayer game, where because you're not considering the others, you can just be, fuck it, I don't give a damn about the consequences of my actions, I'm just going to be a complete arse this era, and you could literally wipe the opposing player off the map. That is one of the concerns I've got. I mean, we haven't pressure tested it, have we? So
no, we haven't played that game mode yet. And the second thing is, we haven't even got out of all the trainer wheel scenarios because we've only played a 2-era game. And the best thing is, out of the 2 games that we played on Saturday night, we failed at both of them. Yeah. We failed the first game because we got wiped off the map because I didn't realise we were playing on a very hard scenario, not a fucking easy one.
Yeah. Quick tip. In training mode, don't pick the hard mode cards.
And then in the second game, we picked the easy cards. And we were so close to winning, other than the fact that we both sailed away and I wasn't in control of a settlement because of the issues that happened that era with a bunch of conquistadors attacking villages. Because I was just camped out in your settlement, wasn't I, mate?
But this is what I said about
because I didn't win a settlement, or because I didn't own a settlement, we lost the game in that regard. We also lost the game because there was way too many conquistadors on the archipelago.
Yeah.
There was, like 12 in total?
Hello, Chris.
And we needed to be below 8.
Good to see you, mate. Yeah, we had to, we were massively outnumbered, basically. The conquistadors took control. But again, there is a lot going on in this game. It's like the training scenarios are really needed, because once you've worked out, okay, we've got to appease the gods, we've got to feed everybody, we've got to expand our tech trees and make our tribes more effective. Oh yeah, and we've got to kill all the invading Spanish. It's sort of like there's so many things to do. It's like next time we play it, we know that every settlement needs to retain 2 meeples, and those meeples need to have access to weapons. Otherwise, your conquistadors are just going to run amok. But again, this is the whole purpose of the training wheel scenarios. They break something to you each time, and it's like, now we're going into game 3, we're like, okay, now we've got it. Food, gods,
I mean,
weapons.
Again, Ewok, I do get your point, because, again, Gloomhaven and Arkham, etc., that kind of thing. Arkham is a prime example of, if you have a game where somebody doesn't know what they're doing, and they just dawdle a bit, it just fucks you over.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. This game is so hard. I wonder, is adversarial mode really needed? I mean, this game is not an easy game to beat.
But the beauty of me and Paul playing board games like this, etc., is that, again, we've played the 2 intro scenarios. We didn't win them, but we've taken learning lessons away to go to the next one.
Yeah.
So it is very good in that regard, rather than certain board games, Gloomhaven being one of them, of you've lost this scenario, now fucking do it again.
And do it again. What? And do it again. No! I mean, I get what you're saying. Ewok Kebab says one of the issues with board games in general is getting past the intro scenarios unless you can find a group of players. Remember, Ewok, because of the co-op nature mode, you can play it solo. You know, there is a solo setup card where you play with a single tribe. The gods are proportionately easier for you to appease with just one player's worth of resources. The conquistadors are turned right down. Do you know what I mean? So, again, I would have no hesitation recommending, especially at 25 quid. This game is a ridiculously cheap game. With that solo mode, you don't even need a gaming group. You know, you can literally just stick this out on the dining room table and have a fiddle about with it. And like I say, it is literally it's basically a puzzle game. Build a puzzle. Can I solve it in however many activations or cubes I've got to spend? I've got X cubes to solve that puzzle. Can I do that? It's a great little game. Absolutely great little game. And give them the kicker. It's the first design out of a husband and wife team, I believe, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is absolutely beautiful. The other thing that they've done, which is fucking hats off, genius. You didn't like it. You didn't like it though. Was the fact that all of the cards and all of the assets are just iconography. The rule book, which is printed in the different languages, contains those cards and tells you what those cards do.
Yeah, because they've tried to avoid any language on any English, French, German on the cards. It's all just pictures and icons, which is very common for modern board games. Makes translation so much easier because basically you just translate the rulebook. Everything else is covered.
Exactly. Again, it was on offer at Zartu in Black Friday. I think the deal's still live at the moment. Not sure, but it was a good game. And again, I was in the market for a board game in the run up to Christmas. Get something a bit different to Everdell and Arkham Horror that I've got. Let's give this a try because I liked it. I had a look at some of the reviews, etc., because I'd been doom scrolling. So therefore, it is what it is.
Oh my god. Monopoly Stoke edition. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So
it's a bit better than Monopoly Stoke edition.
It's 10 to 9. Shall we do the news?
Yeah, let's do the news.
Speed run the news.
Well, you'll have to let us know whether it's any good. With a name like Sifu, it sounds like it should be good because I love things all Eastern, and as somebody who did martial arts for years, it sounds cool. Before we move on to the videos, I just want to give a shout out to Weird Miniatures. So I bought a ton of Weird Miniatures Malifaux kits at UKG this year. When I unpacked, again, as you do when you're in this hobby like we are, you wait 3 months, 4 months before you even unpack the stuff that you bought after you added it to your endless pile of shame. When I unboxed one of my Malifaux kits, I was missing an entire sprue. I literally just went onto the Weird Miniatures contact form, told them what the problem was, sent them a photograph of the box and the sprues that I had. And it took a little while with international postage, but no issues. Got the sprue I was missing. Very good customer service. Cannot complain. Well done, Weird Miniatures.
While we're also on the shouting out customer service, Mantic, my Dungeon Saga Origins box arrived damaged. I sent them an email to complain about the fact it was damaged. They then wrote me an email back saying we can give you a £10 refund, or we'll send you out a new box. Bear in mind, I just took a photo of the lid and the lid that was damaged. They then asked me if I wanted the lower half as well, if the lower half was damaged. So that is winging its way to me as a replacement shortly.
Good customer service from these companies. That's what we need, and that's what we want. Right, videos on YouTube that are worth a watch. So, first of all, Dungeon Craft. This is Professor Dungeon Master, an old school Dungeon Master from back in the day. This guy published endless amounts of stuff for TSR in Dragon Magazine, so he's a published author in the field. He's done a review video about this book, So You Want to Be a Games Master, by Julius Alexander, I think it is. I can't remember what the guy's first name is. It's currently on Amazon. I will probably be picking this up. It's only a 10-minute video. The book looks amazing. The review's really good. I would, if you've got 10 minutes to spare, well worth a watch. And if you're into your role-playing games, that book looks like a really
treasure trove,
a real good purchase. Because again, both Prof here and some other people have said it is exactly what it says on the tin, which is the kind of book that you want to buy early in your Games Master career. It's probably got the more experienced you are, the lower on the curve of value this is. If you're somebody who's only run a couple of games, buy this book. This book looks to be the kind of thing you need. It is literally, every page has got a great piece of advice on how to make your games more fluid, more spontaneous, give you more of a sense of control. It's just
immersive.
Great video. Absolutely awesome video. Miniac next. Everybody knows who Miniac is, I'm sure. None of you guys will be new to this chap. I don't often recommend Miniac's content. He used to do...
You said this the last time you recommended his content as well.
But it's true. I mean, I've probably only recommended a couple of his videos the entire 12 months we've been this year. Go back and check our entire back catalogue if you don't believe me. Massive plug.
And call him out next week.
I don't often recommend Miniac's videos. He tends the ones about the high level painting stuff. It's not for me. It's fine. It's great if you're into that sort of like top level navel gazing painting. Yeah, great. This video actually was really cool, and I like it because it's almost like it's written from quite a humble viewpoint. Essentially, he was approached by a German guy. I'm going to get his name. Roman Lafat.
That sounds
like
very French.
No, he's definitely German. He said, not being at all certain. Somebody, Tim, do you know the one I mean? But anyway, this chap is like multiple award winner, Golden Slayer Sword winner, and he is somebody who sort of made contact with Miniac right back about 10 years ago when Miniac first started on YouTube. Let me see if it's in the description. Let's see if I can scroll down. No, it's all just the usual bullshit. Okay. Well, watch the video and you'll find out who it is. But anyway, this guy is somebody who is essentially, he's one of Maniac's painting heroes. And he actually approached him and said, look, do you want to come and visit my studio in Germany? We'll have a 48-hour sort of like intensive tutoring session or mentoring session, if you like. Then we'll go to this high-end painting event in northern Italy because me and my mate are driving over. And essentially, it's sort of like Miniac's travel diary of going to visit this guy, going to this high-end painting event, and some of the miniatures on show are fucking amazing. If you like your eye candy, whoo, there are some great treats later on in this video. But as I say, it's not really something to
feel attacked. I feel attacked.
What's happening?
I'm sorry. Can we go down to my desk cam, please?
Okay, right. Okay. Hang on. Well, come on then.
Come on then. There you go.
Come on then. Video Ninja David.
What about that fucker? It's currently untidy.
Mate. Video Ninja David is blank.
I've just joined. Do I need to rejoin?
Let me refresh it.
I'm refreshing now as well.
I was going to say, I'm getting nothing, sadly.
Try now. What's that? Not working?
No, it isn't. Let me go into properties. Paste.
7th to the 12th, 23 is the right one.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Now you're on screen. What
about this, other than the pile of brushes, is untidy? I need
my
all
God,
of these.
mate! All of that just.
I need all these.
All of that just to prove them right. Look at it. You
If
lose.
this is messy, you fucking need to go back like to 3 or 4 streams ago where I pulled it up, and it was about this deep in stuff. I mean, I have got a box over yonder that's got all of the shit off this desk in it, but we'll
So
gloss over
essentially,
that.
it was just, was it? Just sort of swipe it all into a box. Oh my god.
Yes, Darren, there is fire on my desk.
Oh my god. Right, are you quite finished defending your position
I've finished defending my position.
and getting triggered? Right, okay then. Now we'll resume our normal programming. Now you're finished fucking moaning. Okay, so I've mentioned every single one of these videos that's come up. So here's another one. This Good Enough Gaming. It's a really tiny channel. This chap's been doing a killer stream, which is better, one-page rules of Games Workshop, and each video focuses on a different thing. This one, episode 6, I believe it is focused on which has got the better game balance, one-page rules or effectively 40k.
It didn't need answering, did it?
Spoilers, massive win for one-page rules, massive fail for Games Workshop. The only thing that you could perhaps be a little bit critical about this video is this must be the shortest video ever. To be fair, except for the guy does a really thorough job. You're right, mate. You are absolutely Roman Lepat. That's it. Thank you. Yeah, okay. So it is right in the southern tip of Germany. That explains why he just noped across the border in his car to Italy. Yeah, okay.
He probably goes and does the shopping in Italy at the weekend, doesn't he?
Okay. Thank you for doing the research on that, Tim. It's greatly appreciated, mate. So yeah. But do you know what? This guy produces great videos. It's really well thought out. It's really well argued. The only critical thing is this sort of has been debunked or denied by a lot of these old GW old guard that have been doing the rounds currently on YouTube, like channels like Jordan Sorcery and Painted Face.
Ewok's just hit the nail on the head. It could have been a GIF rather than a video.
Lapat. Okay, yeah. Okay, thanks, Tim. So there's this argument. Games Workshop deliberately create busted, broken shit to push model ranges that aren't selling. Okay, this has been like an internet rumor,
Meme.
gossip point, meme, whatever the fuck you want to call it. A lot of the guys who've appeared on Painting Phase, Jordan Sorcery have said it might look like that, but trust us, it's just accidental. It's all part of balance issues in general, blah blah blah. And the fact that even if it seems concocted, it's not. It's coincidental.
It's God's great plan.
And bless him, Good Enough here does lean on this argument quite a lot and sort of like pushes it almost as a certainty. And I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Do you give them the benefit of the doubt, or do you say fuck off? The number of times it's happened, it can't be coincidence. This has to be deliberate business practice or whatever. I don't know. But regardless, it's a good video and it's worth a watch. And he is not unfair or overly scathing his criticism. If you're a GW fanboy, you're a GW fanboy. I mean, I'm not gonna yuck your yum or piss on your chips. If you love their stuff, I mean, their miniatures are great. Even I love their miniatures mostly. But if you like their game systems and rules, well, fucking, you have at you, son. But for me, no.
You might need a lobotomy, but
talking about what I was talking about a minute ago, Jordan Sorcery's done another one of these head-to-head talky videos. Jim Butler, this is a guy, again, he's got a huge history with GW, going back to late 90s, I believe, and he's pretty much worked in every level. So he started in packing and mail order, and then he's worked right the way up. When he left, he was in charge of web design and the Games Workshop web store and that sort of stuff. So, great video. As usual, Jordan Sorcery sort of smashes it. Loads of little nuggets in there for people who have basically grown up with Games Workshop from the 80s and have got a ton of nostalgia and history built into what Games Workshop once was, and the characters that used to run the firm. Yeah. I mean, the problem with the Games Workshop, the problem with the whole Games Workshop thing, I think it can be encapsulated in this, and this is the problem is our hobby and hobby gaming, your first objective has to be fun and enjoyment of a leisure activity. The problem with Games Workshop is the commercial prerogative, because they're a listed company, makes that really hard to just do things for the customer's benefit and for the good of the product. Because if they're not commercially robust decisions, they can't be made. And I understand they just can't be done, because the whole sort of agenda is different. Wizards have run into the same coast with Dungeons and Dragons
and Magic
the Gathering. Yeah, fantastic example, mate. Do you know, there are just certain things that have to be done to drive a commercial framework that are just not going to sit well with what might be an established or veteran customer base. If you're new, and again, this is why you get this churn. This is why Games Workshop are now focused on this funnel model, where they don't really care how many people drop out the bottom, as long as they catch more people at the top. It's like, as long as we can keep you for about 18 months to 24 months. But if you get pissed off with us because you get sick of the churn, sick of the money grabbing, we don't care, because we want to keep filling the funnel from the top with all these people who don't know what they're letting themselves in for. It sounds awfully cynical when I'm putting it my way, but I'm afraid that's the truth of it. But
yeah, let's
not get into the weeds.
noob and milk the noobs.
Let's not get into the weeds. This is a good video and it's worth watching, and Jordan Sorcery is a great channel. Ash Barker, this is probably Ash Barker is the closest thing I think I've got to a hobby hero. I really like the way Ash's approaches hobby gaming. I like his philosophy.
Stream idea. We should go into
that is a good idea.
Hobby heroes.
Although now I've spoiled mine.
No, you could curveball.
Okay. Anyway, obviously Ash has been changing his arrangement. Yeah, he's great. He's a great content producer. The man's just an absolute machine. He's absolutely committed. He's absolutely dedicated. And he just, again, he drives his content with his Patreons and his established circle. He doesn't chase the algorithm. He makes videos that he wants his patrons to enjoy, because that's where his money comes from. So because he's set his revenue source outside of YouTube, I think that's why he's got more control over the content he makes. So Ash has got this. He's obviously reshaped his whole studio setup and his whole filming arrangements, so he's able to get back into talking head type content. And he started this series called Grimdark Media, where he sits down with a friend of his called Jay, who's like him, somebody who's been in the hobby since they were like that high, so you know, as long as us, because I think Ash is in his late 40s, early 50s. They're talking about media, so film, book, computer game, and there might be of art, maybe. I can't remember what the fourth one is. But each week they pick something and talk about it. And don't get me wrong, this is quite highbrow talking head stuff. So these guys are really, they're getting into a lot of artistic language. So, you know, they're talking about what's the underlying concepts of things and, you know, how they're framed emotionally. And this is probably not going to be everybody's bag, but I think it's fantastic content, and it will absolutely bomb on the algorithm. I know that for a fact. But if you like to hear people who've got a lot of strong thoughts and opinions on everything that surrounds geek hobby, then these guys are amazing. They the first video they did was on the short Space Marine film. The guy who went to work for GW, I can't even remember what it's like a 15-minute movie, animated movie.
Yeah, I know what you're on about.
This one, they basically tackle H.P. Lovecraft's short story Call of Cthulhu, and talk about the whole thing, and it's just great. It's long form content for people who really want to nerd out. So you have been warned. This isn't a 10-minute filler video, which is going to teach you anything, except it's just a great analysis of a classic piece of fiction and how it's impacted so many things around our hobby. That is exactly what I would say exactly the same thing, Ewok. It's a great video to have on while you're hobbying because it's effectively a podcast format. There's nothing to see. You're just listening to them talk. And then last of all, oh no, that's it. That was it, because the last one is the Tindaya, which we've already talked about. So as I say, I think it's been a bit of a killer week for YouTube. Oh well, good for you, Tim. Tim's saying that the Barroom Brawl project thing from Mantic, the Advent calendar. Do you know what? Doing it daily is a great idea. So what are you literally opening the calendar live on the internet? To be fair, I'm supposed to be painting now, Ewok, but stream. So there we go. That's my YouTube for the week in a nutshell. Before we get into the main topic. So,
resolutions 2023.
Do we have to?
I mean, we opened a fucking gob on the internet and we said that we'd hold ourselves accountable. So guess what, bitch? Buckle up. We're holding ourselves accountable.
Yeah. Brace yourself, guys. This is going to hurt. And it probably us more than you, but it is going to hurt. Okay, so back in January, obviously, David and I set our stalls out on the internet. Yeah, the stream is live.
Tim, do we need lube?
Fucking, I tell you what, Tim, we were preparing for this stream last night, and I've got a little slideshow just to carry us through it. And it was uncomfortable, to say the least, to hear me committing myself to things that I have possibly abjectly failed at live on the internet. Still,
shall we? I'm going to start off with you owe me a $5, and we'll leave it there, shall we?
Stop it. That was. I tell you what. When you don't do your bolt action, you can give me 15 instead. How about that? Do you know what? A moral support beer is a good idea. We've started our Christmas booze shop. I might have to hit the whiskey. So let's review our hobby resolutions for 2023. So obviously, I imagine you guys can't retain the entire 2-hour live stream that we did back in January in your heads, and if not, why not? What's going on? So if the season is burning spam, then someone needs to go. My God. Okay, so My first,
children
my-
need more chili.
my my first hobby resolution was, and I'm going to paraphrase here, carefully consider model purchases and buy terrain over models. So, first of all, no impulse purchases. Every model's purchase is going to be carefully considered.
Have you got the box to show people?
No, I haven't. But if you've been watching for a while now, you'll know that David and I dove into Flames of War completely on impulse because it was so cheap. And there may or not be a huge amount of regret with that.
Fuck it!
So
this also features in a minute for me, but we'll come to that.
We'll come to that. So possibly not such a great start. Now, in my defence, pretty much the only other things that I have bought this year are my Moonstone,
which I called you out on.
I bought a few specific miniatures for the Slaves to Darkness project, where I bought some Mantic, Chaos Dwarf, Abyssal Dwarves.
Malifaux demons.
My Malifaux Oni, which obviously was an established project and that had been on the cards for a while. And we picked up some figures I picked up some extra figures for my Bolt Action and some extra figures for Silver Bayonet, so that when I get round to it, I can paint it. So I don't think I did bad. Apart from the Flames of War, everything else I bought with a project in mind. I considered it long before I bought it. So as I say, I think I did.
It could have been worse. Could have been worse.
Could have been a hell of a lot worse. The other thing I did do was I got
again,
an entire. Go on. What were you going to say, mate?
Even your Maladon purchase way back at the beginning of the year, when I also bought Dungeon Saga Origins, that was very considered because we said that we're not both buying the same games anymore. We're buying different games.
Yeah, we did. Again, like you say, we made sure.
Paul's just called you out. Paul's just called you out on stream.
Yeah, Paul has caught me out because he tempted us with bloody trench, didn't he? Damn you, Howells! Keeping us honest on the internet. Okay, I think we'll go from partial success to total fail, I think. So yeah, that was two. No, he's right. God damn it, he's right. Yeah, no, he is right. Anyway, on the upside, I did buy a lot of my UKGE. Pretty much for every model I bought some scatter. I bought a ton of stuff from Irongate Scenery. I bought a ton of stuff from Annie Bad Squidoo, and it was all like terrain scatter. We have made great progress on my 3D printed Frostgrave terrain set. I've got pretty much fully assembled my Carnivale terrain set, and I've even started painting it. And I've got nearly 2 buildings fully finished with washes and everything. MDF is a bitch to paint. I'm sure you were all aware.
More on that in a minute.
When my big birthday present from my wife was a pre-painted sci-fi terrain set from GameMat.eu. So a big box of pre-painted resin, just ready to unwrap, put on the table and play with. So, as I say, I did sort of stick to the plan, but had a couple of moments of weakness. So, you know, it could have been. And again,
worse. I wouldn't say Trench was a moment of weakness.
But it totally qualifies as an impulse purchase, doesn't it? Though, I mean, Paul is right.
Does it though? Because we didn't pre-order it the day we played it.
Yeah, no, I think you're splitting hairs now, mate. I mean, we were hardly talking about. Basically, we saw Paul's board and went, "Ooh, shiny." Dicini went, "Ooh, look at that." I mean, to be fair, I've got to be grateful. Bot War could have been on there because I really enjoyed our Bot War demo game, and I really enjoyed the miniature range.
Absolutely hated it.
Yeah. So do you know what? If my only
oh my god, Spam's lowered the tone. Fuck's sake.
At least said about that, the better. I'll leave you to wrestle with that one, mate. So let's tell everybody about your first.
Well, which petard are we going with first? Which one am I?
As you're on a bit of a lag, I'll start reading. So David's first resolution was to dent his painting backlog. Get ready with the hashtags, guys. Dent his painting backlog, particularly his big board games.
We ignore Assassin's Creed, it's become a meme now.
Compromise paint quality for board game miniatures. Has he got the receipt? Oh my god. Okay, so go on.
Yeah, on this one, I didn't really dent Assassin's Creed. I haven't really touched Assassin's Creed. We're going to gloss over this subject matter and get called out on the internet for it for the next 12 months. Gloss. Plenty of gloss. However, League of Infamy, I did a project on Tabletop. I got 61 miniatures fully painted. I got 44 miniatures like half painted. And I did use a lot of contrast and Vallejo Express color, and I was happy with the effects. So
yeah, I'd forgot you'd use those.
I compromised on the quality compared to obviously the grind that I'm currently going through from Wild West Exodus, because I'm painting these properly, and Carnivale that I did this year that I also painted properly.
And then smashed on the floor.
No, I only smashed half of them. Remember, I only smashed the patricians. I didn't smash the doctors. We'll gloss over that. So yeah, I've compromised on my quality. I got a fair chunk done. I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve with my OTT project.
I don't know.
So,
I think painting 61 models is what did you say that was 6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah, something like that.
I think 61 models is a fair chunk of models. I mean, you know, that's fairly good. I mean, I suppose the problem with this is like the way you set it out. Again, feel free to everybody watch the stream, take some popcorn and be, you know, ready to fucking cringe after watching this. But the thing is, Assassin's Creed, you bought all in, you bought everything, and there is 160 plus miniatures in the base game.
Trying like nearly 220, 230 by the time you had everything in.
You know, League was your other big one, wasn't it? League was your other big.
Yeah, League's about 120 minis. So in theory,
the only other one you've got that we don't talk about much on stream is Dungeon Saga. You got the whole Kickstarter package on eBay, didn't you?
But oh no, it was Facebook actually. But yeah, point stands. And I've got what have I got? I've got most of the Eye of the Abyss minis painted up of that. I've got most of the playable characters painted up out of it. Haven't touched any of the ogre orc stuff, but I have touched half of the Dwarf King's Quest stuff. Right. So it's like a half-done project.
But you haven't done anything this year on it, have you?
No, I haven't touched it this year. And the reason I haven't touched it this year is because I knew the other one was coming.
He walked so painted Assassin's Creed, not got past ass.
Haven't barely got past the fucking A, mate, let alone past ass. So
and, when he passes the first ass, he's got another ass coming up.
Double ass in.
Oh my god. Did he just say that? Don't clip him! Don't clip him! Tim, don't do it!
So yeah, this year has been one of them years of I've done a fair chunk. I'm happy with what I've done, and I'm gonna take some of that for going forwards into next year and do my Dungeon Saga Mark II.
Yeah, I mean, the compromising on paint quality is definitely a win out of this one for you, isn't it, mate?
Well, I mean, again, I'm even like these Wild West Exodus minis. There's two guys that I've used the contrast black on, just to get a different level of black coat on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So I think partial success, because that was a big thing for you, isn't it? And if you go back and watch the original live stream, obviously you sort of mea culpa yourself there and say that you've really got to get your head around the fact that not every miniature requires 14 different layers of highlighting and a robust internet recipe to actually work.
Yeah.
And you
just slap paint on, be done with it.
And to be fair, that you're developing the skill set now where you can just trust your own instinct and start attacking stuff, and it'll be fine. And I think that was a massive win for you. So should we move on to the next horrendous debacle?
We're making Tim hungry because there's cookies in chat, spam an egg, and a kebab. We love you, Tim. Just be careful with your teeth, mate. Just be careful with your teeth. You don't want to lose any more.
Spam's nice and soft. Probably avoid the kebab. That could be a bit chewy, particularly that pita bread. Again, cookies, you could... I'm not even going to... No, I'm not going to say what just popped into my head because that'll be clipped. Spam, just type you can always suck a cookie in the comments. Or don't.
Fuck's sake, don't be giving her ideas, boy.
So, my second... dipped in... Not coffee, dipped in Army Painter Soft Tone. That's probably why you've lost your teeth. Soggy biscuit. Right. Pause number 2. Get unloved.
Oh God, I feel sick.
Get unloved and unused games to the table and restrict my new games purchases. Please, my lord, refer to Flames of War and Trench Offensive. Okay.
Hang on, did you buy into Gaslands this year?
I'm sure I did, mate. I'm sure I did.
No,
I did.
Swear.
No, I did.
Oh no, yeah, because you were doing that at Christmas last year, weren't you?
Yeah, I didn't buy my because you were into it, and you sort of sold me hard on it, and then I went and bought some Hot Wheels from Boys, didn't I? Not Boys.
Yeah, you did.
B&M.
The range B&M. There we go.
So get unloved and unused games to the table. Played a fair bit of Carnivale this year. What, 4 games?
No, more than that.
So considering we only play like 50 games a year, basically, maybe less because we play a lot of board games. So maybe what 35,
40 odd, probably.
That's quite good. Happy with that. Played a load of bolt action because Ricky got into that, so I managed to get my Japanese and Brits to the table multiple times. Really pleased with that. Managed to revisit Dead Zone and explore the 3rd edition, having not played that since 1st edition, which was massive.
Firefight?
Firefight was a new game, so at the moment we're talking about getting things that I already owned to the table.
Yeah, but I thought you owned the army for ages.
Well, technically I did because I bought it for the original version of Warpath. So yeah, I guess. Do you know what? Let's add it to the list. I played Firefight with my Warpath Forge Fathers, which had been gathering dust for Christ knows how many years. I can't even remember when the first Warpath was even released.
Evening up, World.
It's hi, Trev. And then Malifaux, just who should turn up at just the right time, but Trevor and I have been basically playing a game of Malifaux every month for most of the year.
Did you summon a demon by mentioning Malifaux?
So yeah, gonna take that as a win. Now the problem is if you go back and live watch the original stream in January, talking is hard. Original stream in January. All of the games I mentioned, Volsung, Aliens vs Predator, Mythos, Mythic Battles, Burrows and Badgers, didn't play any of them this year.
No, you're also missing the very important thing. You didn't get your 2021 Christmas present to the table.
2021 Christmas present? What the fuck is that?
Silver Bayonet, you
Oh,
bellend.
Silver Bayonet. Yeah. So yeah, not successful. Bought into Moonstone, but I said in my stream I was committed to one game. We bought that at UKGE. We ummed and ahed over it, and that was definitely. I mean, there were so many games I could have bought into. That airship one is one I think about almost every other day. Ironclads. I think about that game a lot. But again, got to resist and be disciplined. I bought the rulebook and bits and bobs for Gaslands, painted my first car up. And then that bloody Flames of War impulse purchase. And of course, what should be on here, and what I forgot until that sod Paul Howells reminded me, was Trench Offensive as well. Tempted me in. And I had to buy that. So, what's that? 4 new games in a year. It's probably more than I wanted to get into. Particularly given the huge amount...
you're missing some.
Oh,
you're missing
God.
some.
What am I missing? Armada?
Oathmark, Armada.
Yeah. Oathmark I'm going to pass, because that was a deliberate thing. That was almost...
I know
I'm
that
not,
was
I'm
me
not going
egging
to put
you
it
on
on
for
you
it.
and say it was for you, but obviously that was almost... I think because of the stream, I wanted us to explore all of these rank and flank games. So I'm going to let Oathmark have a pass. I didn't buy any models for it. I basically just bought the core rulebook.
Yeah.
What else did you say?
Armada.
Yeah, Armada. But again...
I know I did. No, to be fair though,
I had
most
that
of your
stuff at
Armada
Christmas.
was last year's Christmas present from me to you,
and
wasn't it?
Again, talking about considered purchases, you bought me the starter fleet. Literally, I added the Drake. So, my Armada
and a mat and a rule set.
Yeah, my Armada spending has been quite contained, quite considered, and quite relevant. Do you know what I mean? I haven't gone out and spammed 3 fleet boxes and gone completely out of control. So, yeah. Oh, well done, Ewok. Great minds think alike, sir. He also bought you Moonstone
Ewok,
UKG.
are you going in 2024, buddy?
Oh,
because if you are, we should have a meetup for a drink, boy.
Definitely. I'll message you on OTT Discord, Ewok, so that we may have already exchanged messages. In fact, we have, because you sent me links to your projects, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, if you're planning on UKGE next year, or 24, we need to meet up, bud. And that invitation is to any of you other guys. If any of you guys in chat are going to
Tim has just attacked you.
Tim,
lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels.
That's because I am.
He's got a plastic crack addiction, boys and girls.
I am little, and I am addicted to these bloody games. It is my problem. We all are. Yeah.
Did you just snort resin dust?
Yeah, I tell you what, that's where the good shit is, man. Grinding it up. Right. So again, partial success. The thing is, I definitely played games this year that I haven't either never played.
Well, I tell you the other thing you've started doing this year, because I'm currently painting the fuckers. Wild West Exodus, you found your old box, you've dug it out of storage, and you started painting it.
Yeah,
ready for 2024.
Yeah, everybody's assembled and Zenithal primed, except for the one guy who I lost the bits to. Won't go into that. So no, we just need to get that to the table. But so do you know what? I'm going to take a partial success. Because I think again I'm going to take the win simply because I owned stuff that was gathering dust and was unloved, and I've basically played a load of games with it. In
answer to my question to Ewok, no, he's going to Salute instead.
Okay, mate, that's fine. Doesn't matter. I think you said actually the other week. To be fair, that was a definite thing. I've had, bless him, Dan from our club has been trying to offload a lot of stuff that he's just never going to get round to using, and he's offered me some fantastically tempting things. But again, yeah, I think I've exerted some discipline this year. It will not look like it, but I think I have.
Honest, governor, it wasn't me. They forced it into my hands.
Okay, so somebody get the lube ready. David's second resolution was finish his drop zone commander table. And the second part of it was paint an average of 2 miniatures per week. So, mate, go on, talk us through it.
Drop zone commander.
Yeah, let's dwell on this one.
The gift that keeps on giving, the box that's been assembled since a fucking hell, 2020, 2021, something like
mate.
that.
I can't remember.
Was it? Did you see that table before you went away to Scotland? Please tell me you didn't.
No, I did.
Oh fuck!
Because I was at the UKGE when you bought that, wasn't I?
Yes, but
and it was before I went away. It was definitely before I went away.
Was it?
Yeah, because I think it was the one where I worked the OTT guys. Worked for the OTT guys because I met you because I was busy and I met you during the lunch break, and I'm sure that was the year you bought that.
So what was that? 2019?
Yeah, it's a long time ago, mate.
4 years.
It's a long time ago.
4 years the fucking built and I play on it, but it's not fucking painted. Oh shit.
Yeah. So what about progress on that, mate?
We've painted a few more buildings. We started putting some texturing and stuff on and fucking and dicking around with that. We've put some primer down on a couple of buildings. We started putting some colours in. I haven't got anything to hand to show the boys and girls at home, so you're just gonna have to take my word on it, bitches. Yeah, Drop Zone Commander, bit of a fail. However, you know, we were talking about impulse purchase, and again, MDF terrain, absolute bitch, never again, but we'll gloss over that subject matter. But we come to the impulse purchase of Flames of War.
Oh, yes.
And the fact that in, what was it, 2 months? 2 months from Games Expo to when we played it, or was it 3? We bought it in June, played it in September. So 3 months. In the space of 3 months, bought the roads, 3D printed a load of walls from my King and Country Kickstarter, plus the Ruined Church, all scaled down to 15mm, which I did say was one of my goals in fucking the stream. If you go and watch it back at the beginning of the year, where we talk about resolutions of getting some of my 3D printed shit printed. Built a table. Bought some terrain from Empires of War, some very nice pre-coloured stuff. Built that up, got that built and assembled. Got the trees all built and assembled on some custom laser cut bases that were a combination of stuff that I bought at Hereward and my colleague at work laser cutting stuff for me. So thank you, Ben, for that. And got it all roughed out. Now, admittedly, the trees haven't got any paint on them or foliage, and the bases haven't got any colour on them for the trees at the moment, but the texture's all down.
You've done a lot of work on walls, though.
And I've done three quarters of the walls and brickwork. Like, not bad. Not bad.
Oh. And with that, he's gone. Okay, everybody, I think David's internet's just died. So, okay, that was a bit unexpected. I'm going to wait and see if he tries to reconnect. The room, if you can, mate, the room is still open. And obviously my internet connection is still up. I thought maybe you'd been struck down for lying. It was like some one of those sort of divine wrath things, where there's a man telling half truths and lies. So yeah, where was he? To be fair, bless him, he's got stolen away by the fates just as he was about to say that his big success is. I'm just going to reload. Okay, mate, I've got your hobby cam. It's just your main camera needs to come back. He was just about to get to the juice and say that his resolution to paint 2 miniatures a week, he absolutely smashed. So we were working it out, and Hey! Right, everybody. There may be a bleep.
Am I back?
Let me
Yes,
check
I am
the audio.
back.
Hang on, mate. I've got to enable
There we go.
Hey! Now you can hear me, can you?
Yes, I can hear you now. There we go. Fucking hell.
Okay, yes, I know the camera's already in use by OBS. Go away, you stupid message.
My internet died, apparently.
Woo-hoo! That's been a while since that's happened. Okay, come on then. I'm stealing your thunder. So now tell everybody about the success story on your second resolution, which is the paint 2 miniatures per week.
So, averaging out at painting 2 miniatures per week, I think I've totally fucking smashed it. I've probably done about 130, 140. The main reason for this goal, as I said at the beginning...
3 a week.
No, but this is...
You're not far off it.
That'd be 160, 180, you dickhead. I can't math. No, 150. I can math. Honest, governor.
I'm sure we got up to about 130 odd. You're within a whisker, mate. It's not a million miles off.
But the main reason for this is because pre-COVID and before all this shit and us streaming started, I used to take forever to paint anything. Like, I would be lucky to paint 30, 40 miniatures in a year, like one a week. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And pre-COVID, I said to myself, I want to do 2 a week. End of story. That's what I want to do. And I failed because COVID was a thing and lockdown arrived and we started digitally gaming and everything else. But that's what started this channel and stream and us chatting shit till the wee small hours and the regular Sunday night catch-ups and painting sessions, etc. So because I failed, I went, fuck it, I'll do it again. And we did do 2 a week. When you look at it on paper, it's like, oh, it's not too bad. But with how I paint, I mean, we're now on the 3rd or 4th week of me painting Wild West Exodus, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 minis. And none of them are finished. So it soon adds up. But
well, that's the thing. There are 15 minis there. And if you finish them in 5 weeks, 6 weeks...
Yeah,
it's still good, isn't it? Yeah, overall, it's still good.
Yeah. But again, this is the thing. By taking that sort of project approach, by tackling the large board game projects, etc., that I said about as part of resolution number 1, that helps massively push me forwards and across the line. So I think maybe slightly pre-leading here. But I'm going to pitch higher next year, and I'm going to try and do more and be happier with them.
Cool. I mean, when you say you're going to pitch higher, are you going to go conservatively higher for 150, which you've almost achieved? Or are you going to, like, go 200? Or
might go 175.
Okay.
And give myself a decent step up, but without being just within a gnat's whisker of it, but it's still not too much of a challenge because 175 is just less than 4 a week, isn't it, basically?
Yeah. I think it's worth saying at this point, we did state this back in our stream, where we set all this premise up. Bearing in mind what Tim's just put there, I'm not putting any number on my hobby progress. I tried that once and it only led to stress, frustration, and demotivation. I hobby when I feel like hobby. And do you know what, Tim? Absolutely all power to you, buddy. Obviously, David and I are sort of making a lot of our failures here, and we are hamming it up a bit for the internet for entertainment value.
But again, we
Do
want to be.
not think that this process is required to make you a complete rounded hobbyist and that this is
Again.
something that everybody should do. David and I have got broad shoulders. We're not going to get. I hope we're not going to get depressed and demotivated by our failures, sir, are we? And what
No,
we didn't
I mean, again, the other
we're
thing
going to
is
focus in on what we did achieve.
This is entertainment. This is us saying, "Oh well, we'll do X and we'll do Y," and we fucking generate internet memes like "What about Assassin's Creed?" hashtag, and the fucking painting bolt action for 20 quid hashtag, etc.
Yeah.
Like that is who we are as guys. Again, when I probably hit 175 next year, I'm probably not going to up my goals any more than that, and just keep chipping away at that around 150 to 175 models a year, because it's an achievable number, particularly when you go and buy
Tim, can you see that, mate? Hang on, I'll stop it moving.
Particularly when we go and buy like a big box Kickstarter like Maladum or Dungeon Saga Origins, etc. If that's the one big thing we do a year, again, the other thing is terrain. We all underestimate the amount of time it takes to paint terrain. Fucking hell, me and Paul are prime examples of that. But when you get a table's worth of terrain looking just so beautiful, and the money's to go with it, fuck me, does it look good. It looks really good.
It is really satisfying to do. And again, go back and rewatch the last 20 minutes plus. Okay. Yes, there are negatives on these slides. There are things that we failed to achieve by a country mile, but we've always focused on the little wins. Yeah.
Well, again, we go from my drop zone commander table, complete and utter failure. Didn't really do anything on it. Absolutely parked it. But we got an impulse purchase table out of it instead.
Did manage to build a completely random new table. Fucking. Yeah, that's a win. Tit. Right, let's go to Paul's number 3. Paint more models by focusing on projects. Do you know what? Ewok, you're almost prescient unless you've actually been watching the video from last year and knew that this was coming up, in which case, well done, you as well. I did it to literally Ewoks read the room. I didn't do what David did. I didn't put a hard number on the number of models that I wanted to paint this year. All I said to myself was, as I said in the stream back in January, I had 80%, what I call 80% disease. I'd start a project, get it to 80% complete, and then the interest drops off, the enthusiasm drops off. Those last 10 models never get painted, the basing never gets done. There's always something. And I committed myself to staying project focus and push until the project is done. And I'm going to take this one as a complete success for me, because if there's one thing that I have done this year, it's embrace this mentality, as is represented by the fact I've got these Japanese on this desk. I am not quitting until this 13 infantry models and artillery piece are done. And when they are done and when they are based, that is 1,000 points of that is every Japanese bolt action model I own, painted, based, play ready, done, finished, tick. Again, my Forge Father's Army. I got a project. There's a project up and on Tabletop. We mentioned it in many streams. Go back and watch our old streams. We've got I basically got all of my Forge Father models together, my old plastics, my resins, and metals, and I said, right, let's build a 1,000-point list under firefight. Bang, paint it. I painted like 50 or 60 models in about 8 weeks, 80 hours of painting it was, something like that. So I'm going to take this as a win. This approach has worked for me. I mean, I finished all my
Again, this is the point here. Your approach here has been, like you say, finish the projects that are on your desk, etc. My approach and what works for me is the numbers game.
Yeah.
Of challenging myself to beat what I did last year, or challenging myself to beat what I did the year before. There will come a point, like yourself, and as I've already just spoke about, just where I'll get to 175 miniatures, be happy with it, and then I won't up the quantity. What I'll end up doing is just saying, right, I need to just get shit painted that's been sat around for ages and take your style and approach. You know what I mean? So long as I'm hitting the numbers, and I'm getting the content done, then happy days.
It's not been universally successful. I've got my sort of my Frostgrave Dungeons and Doggos warband, which I sort of started the kernel of an idea, painted about 4 or 5 dogs, and then sort of like the momentum tailed off with that.
To be fair, you were doing them a lot for painting comps, though, weren't you?
Yeah, so it's not been 100% hit rate. I've still had projects that I've stalled out on, but again, looking at what I've completed this year, I now have a full 300-point Infinity JSA army, fully painted, fully based, ready to play. I have enough Strigoi to put down fully painted right up to the 150 Ducats or whatever it is, the big points for Carnivale. I've got way more Malifaux miniatures than I need to get across my minimum, and I've now started to build a collection. Again, by the OTT project system has really helped me with this, because the other thing that it's made me conscious of is feel free to go mad with all the FNAF double entendres and rude comments in the chat, but this has really given me the presence of mind to think about the money shot. If I'm doing an on tabletop project, I want to keep going until I have got those fully finished miniature shots to put on that project, and it keeps it, for me. I've used it as a tool to push my hobby productivity. So yeah, I'm going to take a win on this one. And that brings us to the last slide, which is David's number 3 resolution, which was this one again. I don't know what we were doing. This the third ones. Yeah, I mean, Warren's talked about it in the XLBS, Tim. You and I are veterans of OTT, and we've been around forever and a dog. They'll get there with it. I'll be honest, I'm just eternally grateful that it's there as a free resource. Because
short of going on Daka and the internet forum and doing it that way,
I mean, we
can all having everyone comment across it.
I mean, I'm sure you can go on to Wix and probably get a free blog. You could go on to, I don't know what all the kids use now, fucking WordPress it used to be, didn't it? And you can set up free blog sites and stuff. But the fact that OTT give you a place to host that blog where you've got a ready-made audience, yes, there are some limitations on formatting. The bloody thing can be slow. If you won't try and upload too many images simultaneously, it bins out. You have to keep resubmitting it. But do you know what? An imperfect as it is, it's a free resource that I think is great. Yeah. Keep your mouth closed. Oh my God, you guys are grim. So this was a huge success. basically we did exactly what we said we were going to do. We did everything that we wanted, didn't we, mate? We played,
and we survived longer than we anticipated we would.
Given that I mean, again, go back and watch our previous live streams. Game, although it's designed to be played as single sessions, there is this campaign mode. It was in the Terrors from the Deep. What was the expansion called?
Under Dark Waves.
Under Dark Waves. So one of the expansions had this special campaign mode in the back of the book as like an expert level of play or an extra mode.
Escalation campaign style.
It looked brutal on paper, but we did better than we thought we did. Yeah, we thought we would rather. And we
thought we'd get to two or three and be done and be dead.
What were we, 5
we got
scenarios?
To 5 in the end?
Yeah, I think 5, and then we destroyed the world. But you know, accidents happen.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
You know, reality can re-knit itself. It'll be fine. We'll just put some sable
because then
on
what
it.
we did was jump straight into Gloomhaven campaign.
Yeah, and again, it lit that fire, didn't it, mate? We then went on and played Gloomhaven after a bit of a jerky start. Fucking randomness. But we managed to
turning it down to my first board game levels of difficulty.
Yeah, so like, so is there a 3-year-old mode? Oh yeah, let's play that. So yeah, we you know, this was a great success, and out of it was spawned our sort of like regular Saturday get-togethers, wasn't it? Where we just played all sorts of board games.
Again, we get together twice a month, and what we usually do is a board game one night, and then the other night is some form of miniatures game or working on like your Frostgrave project.
Yeah, we've done a lot of sessions
working
on that Frostgrave terrain, haven't we?
So that's the thing. It divvies up and spices up our month. It gives us something to look forward to. And the other thing is, because we do these outside of our club session, I'm quite enjoying it because it allows me to have my club sessions for playing with you, playing with Ricky, playing with Trevor, playing with all the other lads. For fuck's sake, I've just realised what I've said.
Mate, just roll with it. You wouldn't believe how long I wrestled with the money shot comment, and I knew where it was going to go, and what the blowback was going to be huge.
Playing with the guys, enjoying the game, getting some stuff in, versus more the narrative style with Paul. I think going forwards, what we'll probably end up doing, rather than just doing narrative board games like Gloomhaven, etc., is probably commit to a narrative campaign of some description, whether that be Frostgrave or Gaslands or Oathmark or something. We will carry on with the narrative style of game, whether it be a board game or a war game, because it gives us something to look forward to, something to enjoy, something to develop the storyline. And when it all goes Pete Tong and everybody dies, it's like, okay, that's fine. We'll just go do a different one. We'll go play some Assassin's Creed. We'll go play some Gaslands. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my god, you guys are...
Oh god, Spam's getting salty.
Yeah, I mean... well, I won't spoil that. Just for everybody who missed it, Tim, some dude on YouTube, has just put in a shameless plug for his self-published hobby blog, warmonger.de. So go and check it out, everybody. And you can put in the comments of this video whether it was good, great, or fantastic, because they're the only 3 options that we'll allow. Any other comments will be removed.
I'm not going to say what I said, but it might be reference World War II.
Yeah, we could definitely propaganda our way through this, Tim. Don't you worry, mate. I've got you. Oh my God.
In German. That's
Tim!
why Google Chrome invented Translate.
Oh my god, I bet that's definitely go then, because if you're relying on the auto translate in Google Chrome, it'll be hysterically unintelligible nonsense. Anybody's just got to watch a foreign video with auto subtitling on YouTube to realise just how ineffectively bollocks that system is. Well, we've come to 5 minutes to go.
Oh, I will mention the war, Darren, because we won twice.
Yeah. got that 1945 deja vu. Oh, we've been here before. So yeah, we hope you enjoyed that, guys. Watching us fucking squirm,
roast and self-deprecate ourselves,
because we opened our mouths in January and fell far short of the mark and were found wanting on all fronts. So just, I mean, we've run out of time sadly tonight, but pile into the comments below. Just give as much or as little information as you want. Did you make hobby resolutions for 2023? How are you doing with them? Do you think you might be tempted for 2024?
This is what I was just about to say. If people have got ideas for 2024, what we'll probably end up doing is do another stream in a similar vein to last year and fall upon our own petard at the tail end of next year.
Oh God, that was. Do you know what, Tim? I like that. That was very good. I like the way it's all like, actually.
Why have I got images of him stroking a cat?
Yeah,
like
it's like a Bond villain. Oh dear.
With his fucking pirate hat and an eye patch on.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Okay. So
Ewok's here saying no more new games for 2024.
Ewok, now come on, mate. No new games. Is that achievable? Because I said the same thing back in January, and I said,
fucking hell, Tim, that is not an image I needed.
Okay, Tim, go to bed. Oh my God. Yeah, I said, Ewok, I just leave the gate open a little. Just ration yourself to one.
I do like Tim's response there. There are no new games. They're all just rehashes of a different game.
That's probably a fair point. But then again, the thing is, Tim, it doesn't have to be a new game on the market. It just has to be new to Ewok. I mean, I bought the 7TV rulebook where they combined all of the rule sets from the various disparate starter boxes and went to this one rulebook model. I picked that up, and again, it's not new. It's new to me, but it's not new. So, and again, haven't done anything with it yet, but that's because I only got the rulebook, and I'm not going to dive in with a load of models and stuff like that until I've done some of the other stuff I'm going to do. So, yeah, thank you very much for everything tonight. You guys, as usual in the chat, were awesome, and you made the show everything that it is, as you do every week.
Oh, fucking Jesus Christ. Have you seen what Ewok did on Black Friday? Fuck me.
5 armies Ewok? What?
That's insane.
That's
what did you fucking
crazy,
get?
bro.
I'm assuming dwarves, elves, Northern Alliance?
Everybody start somewhere, Spam. That is a good resolution. Paint a mini. You get yourself on that little rat wheel. You'll soon be painting hundreds a year for no good reason. Welcome to our world. Mate, Ewok. Jesus, boy. I'm glad I'm not looking at that lot. That would give me ulcers.
Did you have to remortgage the house? Well, no, because it was Mantic and Black Friday.
I ask this just out of interest, Ewok. Are you somebody who's normally very disciplined, so you don't have a huge pile of shame? Or is that like an apocalyptic pile on an already apocalyptic pile of shame? Because that's crazy, mate.
Goblins, Undead, Ratkin, Night Stalkers, and Northerns. They love gravy.
I mean, okay. Are they the mega boxes, the full fat army boxes, or are they like the starter army boxes?
I think if they were the Black Friday ones, they were the mega ones because they were fucking insanely good value.
What the fuck? Well, you've made us all speechless here, boy. Fair. Oh, okay. So you've got some of the mega boxes, some ambush or whatever starter forces. Okay, that's fair. Okay, that's still big, man.
Slightly more palatable.
I mean, that's not, clinic. Yeah, that we're probably not going to have to put you in somewhere safe and secure, but I mean that's still pretty big. Just a piece of news, actually, before we go. There will be no live stream next week, sadly.
Sorry, boys and girls. I'm busy doing things.
David has something big going on in his personal life, and I'm going to be helping. So we're too. Yeah, sorry, Darren. We're going to be too busy to stream. So we're going to be skipping a week. So the next time we see you guys will be December the 21st, at the usual time, 8 o'clock here on YouTube. So, obviously, have a good fall. Make sure you play plenty of games. Make sure you do some hobby if you can.
And get in the festive spirit.
But whatever, enjoy the next 2 weeks. So I think we need to wrap up now, mate, because it's getting time. So thank you to everybody who joined us in the chat. If you watched us later on YouTube, then thank you very much to you as well, because you're just as appreciated. If you can find time to do only one thing tonight, please click the like button. It's very low effort and it's a very high reward for us, because it pushes the algorithm a smidge, but more importantly, it lets us know that people are enjoying what we're doing. If you can to do any of the other things listed below that, then that's absolutely fucking amazing, and it's like the best thing that you can do for us. And with that, I guess we are done. That's a wrap.
Yeah. And we'll see you on the 21st, boys and girls.
We will see you in a couple of weeks, everybody. Au revoir.